So we actually start a new topic today, Baruch HaShem. So we will finish the laws of interest, ribis, and we start today Siman 66, the laws of Iska. So Iska, we're going to see how is it allowed to be in partnership and still make some money, right? In some sense, you lend the person the money, but in other sense, you receiving some interest, right? So this, just so you know, there are a few things that drive people crazy, non-Jews, and one of them is interest. And even though most of the banks belong to non-Jew, and sometimes people write from the country, I'm sure there are Jews in these countries. Like maybe some in the banking system, but the most banking systems do not belong to Jews. And they ask about this ribis. So I always say, look, more like, and they are so like against Jews because it says in the Torah that ribis is forbidden. So last time I replied this morning, just when it happens very very often. So I respond to this person this morning. So I said this interest is only like between two Jews. And I said the non-Jew can charge a Jew interest, right? So it's just to put them in ease, right? But I'm not sure what people are thinking, like probably nothing. Okay, so let's go. We start with laws of Iska. And little introduction, it says, this Siman details the laws of Iska, literally business, business agreement. In which one person provides investment capital for the business venture and another person manages the business, with both sharing the profit and losses equally. This is the basis for what is known as Heter Iska, which is permissible alternative to lending money with ribis, by way of instructing structuring the transaction as Iska rather than a loan. So this introduction is very crucial to everything that we're going to say. I'm not sure it's how many classes we're going to speak about, but it's a lot. It's 12 CFM, very long. I mean, not as long as the previous one, but pretty long. And they're pretty complicated. So let's read one more time and we're going to explain. The Siman details the laws of Iska, literally business agreement. So meaning that somebody needs money, and it could, business does not mean that he's going to buy bananas and sell them in different countries or something. No, business even can even mean that he's buying an apartment or something, right, for themselves. Or any business agreement, right, in which one person provides the investment capital for the business venture and another person manages the business. So it's like two business partners. In secular world, I think one is working partners, was a silent partner, right? One is doing all of the business. Like sometimes they would open a restaurant. One is a famous chef. I mean, of course, most likely he's going to invest some money of his own, but the guy who hires him, right? He's doing all the renovation. He's hiring all other people. Does all the billings, everything, right? But suppliers. But this guy, chef, he's just doing. Right? The whole job, right? So he's actually the working partner. And maybe it's not a good example because I apologize. It's not a good example. A good example would be somebody invests in a business and that's it, right? So you do all of the work, right? That's a better example. You do all of the work and he just invests. So you're using his money, right? And then you have to pay back. Of course, nobody's going to give you money just for free. Like, what is the reason? Especially as we just finished laws of tzedakah. If a person is not poor, she just want to make more money, right? So in this case, so when somebody invests, he expects some profits, some return, and how to handle. So basically, he becomes partner. So usually in a secular world, right? So you invest money, so you give somebody a loan, Whatever happens with the loan does not matter. Like you lend somebody money, you need your money back. You said business did not work. Okay, business did not work. So sell your apartment, sell your mother apartment. So why should I care? Understand? That's how it works. So meaning it's whether business is good or not good. The person wants his money back. But here it's not like that. They become partners, even though only one person cares. Only one person works, and second person just provides the funds. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, so that's a better example. Okay, in which the whole sentence. In this Siman details the law of Iska, agreement in which one person provide the investment capital for the business venture, and another person manages the business, with both sharing profits and losses. So we will see it's not equal. It's not equal profits and losses, of course. This is the basic of what is known the heter Iska, which is permissible alternative, lending money with ribis. So meaning ribis because what does it mean? Ribis means that the person, the investor, is supposed to get more than he gave, right? To more than he landed. He landed 10,000, so he expects to get 1,300. Okay. Commentary. The prohibition of lending money with ribis, interest, has been discussed in previous Siman. So that's would be, but here is a halakhic way how to allow that. By way of instructing that structured transaction as Iska rather than a loan. So Iska, for now, we're going to understand as investment. Okay, so let's start. Halakha number 1. One who gives his fellow funds to engage in a business venture with a stipulation that the profit will be divided equally between them, and also any loss will be borne equally by both of them. This is rendered as Iska, and it is prohibited. Okay, so we're going to see the basis of this prohibition. This is because half of these funds are considered loan and half loan in the hands of recipients. For the responsibility of the half is upon him. He takes the profit generated by his half if the venture succeeds, and also bears the loss of this half if the venture suffer loss. Okay, so we're going to see, of course, as we already see, it's not so simple. Right? The other half belongs to investor and is entrusted to the recipient. For the responsibility for that half is upon the investor. So meaning, like before we continue, meaning that the investor says, look, if it's a loan, he must pay me back. So if it's a loss, right? But if it's my money and he was managing my money, he was my agent. Okay, so meaning if you give if you have a store and he did a bad sales and he bought like spoiled tomatoes, right? For example, so there was a loss in a sale. So who is going to suffer the loss? The owner. He was not there. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Because this salesperson, this manager was his representative. That's it. Okay, so that's one idea here. He takes the profit from the half of the venture succeeds, and any loss that half of the is borne by the investor. Now, the recipient who is engaged in business and expending efforts on the half that has been entrusted to him. So that's okay. So we're going to explain, which belongs to the investor, is doing so only because the investor is giving him the other half as a loan. This is ribis and prohibited. Okay. But there is a permissible manner in which the prohibition may be avoided, which is if the investor gives the recipient some compensation for the toil and the effort that he expends on the investor portion, for the investor portion. So meaning I mean, of course, we're going to go deep and we're going to explain everything it says here. So, meaning the first step to allow this this transaction is to make this person paid shomer. So, meaning we pay him salary for doing the business. So if somebody is borrowing from us, we don't pay them salary to watch over our money, right? He borrows $1,000, he has to pay $1,000. Like there's nothing like that's it. So I'm not going to pay him $50 to hire to open the bank account and keep it like it's ridiculous, right? It's his responsibility. But here when we pay him salary, even minimum salary, he becomes our employee. And when he becomes our employee, he becomes shomer sachar, that person that is working for what is it for salary, right? We pay him for as a watchman, right? As a watchman over whatever, in this case money, right? In this case, if he's going to lose the money, or he's right, or lose the money, so he's responsible to compensate. That's it's very good idea, right? If we just ask somebody to watch our object, for example, for free, and person loses this lost this object without being negligent, so he's not obligated to pay us. Right, something happened. I mean, he had a door and a lock, and somebody picked up the lock and pick out the lock and stole the thing. So he was not be responsible. But not so with the shomer whom we pay money. Okay, so that's the idea basically. I mean, it's one of the criteria. How we can allow this transaction, meaning for investor to receive interest. Continue. So, even though we call it interest, but we have to understand it's a profit from the business. Okay, it's it's profit for the business. It's not, but we call it interest. Okay, and they also set a specific amount at the outset of the agreement, meaning how much he's going to like minimal salary. Or he should give him wages immediately at the time when the funds are given for the investment. So that's, I think that's our custom. That's what we do. We give him money, this for investment, and we pay him right away. It could usually they give him $1 today, right? So any amount, basically any amount. Maybe $5 or whatever, but he's now become he agrees to work for this salary. Person can agree to work for any salary, right? He agrees for this salary, or to work for the salary, and he's going to be paid watchman. Okay, and even small amount is sufficient to avoid Rabbi's prohibition. So as we see, there is a very complicated topic, as we explained. I mean, we did not explain as we can understand. So from the beginning, we're going to see commentary, try to simplify as much as possible. I'll try. Okay. BeEzrat HaShem. So from the beginning, one who gives his fellow funds to engage in business venture with the stipulation that the profit will be divided equally between them, and also loss will be borne equally between them. This refers to the Iska and is prohibited, right? So simple, straightforward. One person gives another person, let's say $10,000 to start the business, and he said whatever we're going to whatever profit we have from the business, we're going to split. They can split does not mean 50-50. It could be 60% to the owner, let's say, because he has money, and the 40 to this guy, 70 Torah is, or opposite, 60 to the guy who is doing business, and 40 to this guy who does exactly nothing. I mean, whatever they agree. So and plus the losses, it's very interesting. So that's right. So plus the losses. So guess what? It's absolutely forbidden. So first scenario, one gives money, and if they have a gain, they divide, right? Split, whatever opportunities, and when they have losses, they also split. So it is prohibited. Okay. And we have one example here. For example, investor supplies capital of $1,000 and venture realizes the profit of 200, okay, making the total assets of 1,200. The investor gets back his capital plus half of the profit, meaning 1,100. While the recipients who manage the investment gets 100. Okay, so that's that's how we explain. Simple, straightforward example, right? It was like one-time investment. I mean, when we speak about like business, we don't understand it as being one-time deal, but to simplify things, right? So investor gave 1,000, they realized the profit 200, and now this guy, this investor gets 1,100, meaning they split the gain 50-50. Okay. So far, so good. So that's, of course, it's, it's good, meaning, but it's still forbidden. If the enterprise suffer a loss and only $800 are left, the loss of 200 is also divided between them. The recipients must return 900 to the investor, and each suffer a loss of 100. So it's very interesting, right? So if the whole investment was 1,000, now they lost 200, and now they say what? So we have to split the losses as well, right? So just because this guy who worked and did not invest anything, just because it was not his investment, does not mean that does not mean anything, right? So he has to take from home, bring from home 100, and pay this investor 900, right? Why? Because they lost 200 and they split. Okay, so meaning the investor should get 900 back. Okay, I think it's perfect example, very simple, straightforward. But let me quickly see if it's clear. So I think we're going to have like several examples, simplified examples when which business is not good, meaning it's been ribis. So quickly message. Would it be enough to give a symbolic amount, compensation money, to recipient, which is due to the quality dollars would be useless for the endeavor, and would be enough to avoid the ribis? Or does the amount still have to be useful for a certain extent? No, it's as we said, it's symbolic amount. So we hire him, right? We hire him. When my company, where I used to work, they bought another company, and they merged the business. Of course, that company was more profitable, I think. So they left all us simple people. Even after time they let us go. Some of us, but the CEO, the top guy, they had to let go. And of course, he was a Jew, very smart guy, and I think not religious, unfortunately. And his salary, it's very interesting. So his salary, official from the company, was I think $150,000. That's it. Right? That's it, and plus all other bonuses. But the bottom line, it was a website. So he was getting $9 million a year in his salary. But the salary, the official, was $150,000 plus all the bonuses, based on his performance. But they always pay this $9 million to this guy. So you understand. So this amount, whatever this 150,000 compared to 9 million, as we understand, it's nothing. It's pocket change, right? but he agreed to pay for like work for this or whatever. Right, so that's fine. So same is here. You given even though you have huge you want to build the whole buildings, I don't know, 20 floors, right? But and you borrow money from this investor or investors, right? And the investor pay $1. Okay, that's it. So that's enough. You agreed to work for $1, and plus, of course, you planning to have like extra from sales and stuff like that. Okay, so any amount is good. So that does not be like, that does not matter. You borrowing for to build a building, or you borrowing to buy a few boxes of tomatoes. Irrelevant. Okay, so let's see. Continue. The basis for this prohibition. So why? Okay. So again, why is the question? The question, why is it prohibited if we split the revenue and we split the losses? Like, should be equal. Like we are partners in some sense, right? Okay. So let's see. The basis for this prohibition. This is because half of the funds are considered a loan in the hand of recipient. For the responsibility of this half is upon him. So half of the loan, so because he's going to get, so forget about all of the ratios, as I said, 40 to 60, forget, like let's stick to simple formula, 50-50. Okay, so we split everything 50-50. I mean, for a simplification. Again, this is because half of these funds are considered loan in the hands of recipients. So whatever he's going to, if something goes bad, as we just saw, he would need to bring money from home, right? So that's why it's a loan. Meaning, loan means, what does it mean? Loan means that you must pay back no matter what. So basically, like a lender does not care. You said you're going to pay back. He gets you some collateral from you, and that's it. So it's not like we're partners here, right? Meaning that's how this half. That's how they converted the half of the loss, right? So meaning in this case, if in the case of when they lost 200, and this guy had to bring from home another 100, so he was responsible for half of the investment. That's what it means. Responsible meaning in case of the loss. So okay, let me know if it's not clear, because it's fundamentals. Okay. Again, the whole sentence. This is because the half of these funds are considered a loan in the hands of the recipient. For the responsibility of the half is upon him. Again, in case of the loss, he would need to bring money from home. That's what it means. He takes the profit generally generated by this half. So I mean, since they divide the profits also 50-50. So meaning that his half, whatever his half generates, right? So it's like half of the profit. So that's what he gets, right? So meaning that he cares, technically he cares about only his half, like how much I'm going to lose or how much I'm going to get. Okay, that's the idea. He takes the profit generally generated by this half if the venture succeeds, and also bears loss on this half, so he cannot lose more than from his half, right? So even like even in this case, in the case of our example we gave for $1,000, so this guy, this investor, the borrower cannot lose more than 500. That's it. So even everything like when down the tubes, he can lose only $500, and other $500 is going to be loss of this investor. So meaning that he can gain profit or take a loss only from half. So technically, this half, in some sense, it's what he borrowed. Okay. So the whole sentence again quickly. So it says that he takes the profit generated by his half if the venture succeeds, and also bears the loss of this half if the venture suffers loss. Okay. So commentaries say, when one person receives investment capital from another person and is expected to return the money regardless of whether the venture succeeds or fails, meaning in this half, those funds are considered a loan. So it's not business investment. So if a business investment means that we are partners, right? 100% partners. So we invested, he invested, let's say 1,000, I invest 500. We're doing business, and if there is a loss, so let's say it was 1,500 loss. That's it. So we lost everything. Or simplify. I invest 1,000, he invests 1,000. There was loss, so we take equal loss, right? But here is not like that, because this guy, the borrower is like, he's responsible for his half. He would need to pay back even if we took a loss. It's very interesting. So it's not so simple. So one more time, even one person receives investment capital. When one person receives investment capital from another person and is expected to return the money regardless of whether the venture succeeds or fails, those funds are considered a loan. Therefore, since the investor and the recipient are divided the gain and losses, and the recipient of the Iska is taking full responsibility for the half investment. That's what it means. What we just explained, right? Full responsibility for the half investment. That half is considered a loan, and which he is in turn investing in venture of his own risk, right? Meaning, right? So it's 100% loan. And he invested in his own risk, meaning if he is going to lose this money, this half of the loan, right? So he would need to pay no matter what. So it's not business. So if the business partner, you suffer loss, and that's it. The whole business suffer loss. So you have a business capital, right? And you do the work with that business capital, and that's it. So you split everything. But here it's not like that. Okay. So that's why it is forbidden. Okay, so let's. Those are basic, and we must understand all of this basic because we're going to build everything based on this concept. Okay. Quickly see if we have any questions. I just saw commentary 6 explaining this as well. 6. Okay, I didn't get to 6. You're good. You're fast. Okay, so continue. The other half belong to the investor. Belong to investor, meaning that the investor, if something goes bad, investor is going to lose, right? Right, he's responsible. So basically, this loan, this investment, right, business investment, is split in half. For one half, this borrower is responsible. For another half, the investor is responsible. Okay, so that's why it's going to be a rebus, right? The other half belongs to the investor and is entrusted to the recipient. Meaning, of course, recipient is working with it, but it belongs to investor. So meaning, if something goes good, investor is going to gain. If something goes bad, he loses. For the responsibility of the half is upon the investor, right? He takes the profit from that half only, so he cannot take more or whatever, only what his half profits, right? That's why we simplify the example. Profits. He takes the profit from his half of if the venture succeeded, and any loss to the half is borne to his investor. So borne by the investor, meaning what the person cannot lose. This investor cannot lose more than half. Okay, so that's the story. So same logic. Okay, so let me see number 4. Commentary. Since the investor is accepting full responsibility for the half of the investment, right? Meaning, he said, if it's profitable, so he gains a lot. So, like usually when they say interest, like straightforward, let's say maybe they would say 50%. 15, like 10%, like 30%, something like smaller amount. But here he gets half of the profit. So it's very good for them. Very profitable. If it's a profitable enterprise. So one more time. Since investor is accepting full responsibility for the half of the investment, he is considered to be investing in his own funds in that half. That's it. Only for a half. The end result is that investor and recipient are partners in a venture, right? As we understand, with which one of them being responsible for the half of the investment, and each is being entitled to the profit generated by his profit. So, the recipient is working for free, so he cares only about his half, but his half depends on somebody else, on this investor half as well. Okay, how much he's going to get. Okay, continue. Now, the recipient who is engaged in the business and expending efforts on the half that has been entrusted him, meaning not his half, because he's responsible for his half. His half that he's entrusted was entrusted to him, meaning the investor's part, right, which belongs to investor. Here we go. Is doing so only because the investor giving him the other half of the loan, right? So it's as we learned in the previous chapter, laws of the ribis. So this the interest is not necessarily only in money or in produce or something. It could be in opportunity. So and this is like a very good opportunity, like to get free money. So here this recipient is going to work very hard, like to make some profits for investors' money, his half money, in order to make profit for his own money, for his own money. Not his own, but his half. So this is ribis and prohibited. So meaning that he's doing favor to this paying extra for the half or that he's not obligated to this to investor, right? Like for the honor for the let's call it honor whatever for the profit of using his own half. Okay, so this is 100% ribis, right? So meaning he pays extra in order to use the money, and that's how that's what we learned in the previous chapter. So they gave you money, you spend whatever, like you use whatever you want, and as when you pay back, you pay extra, right? That's ribis. But there is a permissible manner in which this prohibition may be avoided, which is if the investor gives the recipient some compensation for the toil and effort that he expends for the investor's portions. So now, when we give him salary, it's totally different. So it's not he's doing just because we're doing him a favor and give him money for a business. No, he's taking care of our funds for a payment, right? So, for example, if you go to a brokerage firm, you open yourself like stock portfolio account, right? So you have to pay money. Right, so they're not going to work for you for free, and they some of them take 1%, 1.7, 2%. It depends how much money you invest, because it's it's understandable, it's normal. I mean, they have to do all of the research, they have to have buildings, computers, all the things. Like, why should they do it for free for you, right? You make it a profit, at least you pay some. Do they make some commissions? I'm not sure. Maybe they do make some commissions as well, but for sure they charge you for their job. Okay, service fee. Okay, commentary. The recipient is thus not considered to be working for the investor because of the loan, but in exchange of compensation for it gives him. So he's not doing it as appreciation for the loans that he received, meaning that try to make this half of the investor profitable, but he's working as a regular salary. So some people lay bricks, and some people do the financial investments. Okay, financial investments or other I don't know, whatever they do. Okay, constructing. Okay, so that's that salary, as we see, changing everything. They should set a specific amount at the outset of the agreement. So meaning, so at the outset of the agreement, it must be very clear that this recipient is going to work for his salary. Doesn't matter how small the salary is. Or he, as I said about this guy, about my CEO, former. So he agreed on this tiny salary because of the big bonuses, right? It's worth it for him to agree with the salary. Very interesting. One more time, and they should set a specific amount outside of the agreement, or he should give him wages immediately at the time when the funds are given for the investment. So I think it's preferable to give, that's the way I understand, to give in advance, so make him responsible right away for whatever happens in this transaction. And even a small amount is sufficient to avoid the Rabbi's prohibition. Number 6, such as $1 or even less. English motion. Okay, but I'm not sure if it's it does it have to have a buying power. I think so. I mean, otherwise, people would not work. Okay. If no amount was specified, halakhic authorities should be consulted. I mean, if no amount was specified, as we see, it is disaster. Simple. Okay, of course, we can assume that it was a scribal error and they forgot to put it in the contract, but that's a different story. Okay, so let me see if any. So how much time? Okay, so I think let's do one more because it's short. Okay, one more. And it says, safe number 2. Kitzur now sets out further conditions that may permissibly be attached to the Iska agreement. The resulting agreement is one that can be used by one who seeks to an assured specific return on his money without transgressing Rabbi's prohibition, as will be explained CF3. Okay, so meaning this guy, the investor, he does not want to lose any money, right? As we understand. Okay, so what is the second condition? When setting an Iska agreement, they may stipulate that the recipient should not be trusted. The recipient should not be trusted to say that he incurs loss of the principal unless he is substantiated through the testimony of 2 valid witnesses. Meaning, we have to understand, so the investor gives the money. Today, maybe I have all of the accounting, all of the receipts, I suppose on a computer, but in some stores, in the butcher store, that we go, the guy working is the same technology as the guy that he bought the business from. You understand? It's from 50 years ago. From 50 years ago, he writes on a piece of paper. So he said, okay, so he weighed chicken for you. Okay, chicken, how much? he wrote down on a piece of paper, and all of these things, and then it's in today's day and age. It's not a third world country or something, right? It's where I live, right? So and then he used calculator, adds up, and when he gives a receipt, so basically he gives a receipt. It's very interesting. So like. So if in this case, like of course you standing there, maybe you taking you checking how he adds. I mean, he's an honest person, but everybody makes mistakes, right? But basically, if you're not there and you don't know how like what price he put, or like how he waited. I'm not talking about this guy, but in general, like and he said, you know what? I apologize. We lost everything. You lost 80% of my investment. Like how come? Like you normal? How is it possible? I don't know how it happened. I apologize. I'm sorry. No. So in this case, so we don't want to trust him, right? And it's not smart idea to trust people, right? Especially in business. So we said we need proofs. So right, you need if you incur loss, we want to have two valid witnesses. Okay. And on any claim with regard to the profit, he should not be trusted without taking an oath, right? So, and if he said, yeah, we made 13.5%, I'm so happy because I thought it's going to be 3.5, but we made 13.5. So in this case as well, we can make him swear and say 13.5, and he said, no, I don't want to swear. Why? Because it was 27%. You understand? So we cannot trust him. People, it's for most of the people, is the biggest test is money. Not for all of them, but that's a big issue. Right? People are going to lie, especially if it's impossible to check or hard to check. Okay, number 7. That is, he will not be trusted to say that there was no more profit than he declared without taking oath. Meaning this 13%, and he's very happy. So yeah, swear. The purpose of these conditions is to set up stipulations in which the recipient will find it too difficult, or he will be unwilling to fulfill the required conditions, and he would instead choose to make a payment as described below in the next sieve. Okay. With regard to substantiating the loss through the witness, see below note 17. Okay, so we're going to stop here, but we're trying to make it very difficult for him to lie, because again, we don't have any control of our investment, and we want our money back, of course. Or if there is a loss, we also need to know how big is the loss. Okay, no problem. So we can stop here. To be continued next time. As I said, it's like one of the hardest topics in this in this kids. I mean, maybe others but I think this is one of the hardest. Okay. So let me know if any questions.